Bang, got you. Caught you lacking. Don't freak out, gun's empty, it's not loaded. Anyways, let's talk about ammunition today. So what is ammunition and how does it work? So pretty much all a cartridge is four little components, usually. So those four components are the projectile or the bullet that gets fired out of the gun, the casing itself that holds everything together, there's powder on the inside of the casing, and then on the back there's a little primer. That's pretty much the ignition for the entire thing. So when people usually go out and say, I'm going to go buy some bullets at the store or whatever, they're usually referring to what is known as a cartridge. And cartridge is pretty much just all of those components, the four basic components put together into this little package here. So pretty much the way a cartridge works is when this little primer in the back is struck, the powder on the inside starts to burn, and that powder burning causes the bullet to get sent out through the barrel. It's pretty much burning like an exhaust or like a fuel in the back that's just kind of launching the bullet forward. Now take what I said about the four main components of a cartridge and apply that to something known as rimfire. There's two very commonly available types of cartridges. One of them is what's called centerfire, which means the primer is on the center of the back of the cartridge. And the other is rimfire, which means the entire back is the primer. And you can see here with this little 22 long rifle, the entire rim is the primer. And so when a hammer or a striker hits against that, it's just hitting the rim against it, and that's what's causing the ignition. So now you know how a cartridge works, but how do you know which one goes in what gun and which caliber is the right one? Thankfully, a lot of manufacturers make this easy for you. It's actually, I think, kind of required for them to tell you on the gun itself what it uses. I'm going to have different pictures showing up here of examples on my handguns where the caliber is... Will you stop scratching? Hey, simmer down. We're digging for gold. You're not going to get to China anytime soon. So as you can see, I don't really have a lot of variety. I'm kind of using a lot of 9mm because, what can you say, I like 9mm. But it doesn't really matter because all handguns will pretty much do the same thing. It'll have a little marking on there somewhere that says it's a 9mm or a 45 or a 40 Smith & Wesson. Whatever the cartridge it uses, it will tell you somewhere on the gun itself. Hell, sometimes you'll even see it on the magazine for the gun. It'll be extra sure that you know what you're putting in there. Sometimes even in the name itself, you'll see it. You know, Bersa 380, Stoeger STR9, Ruger SR9. And to make things even easier, the cartridge itself will actually show you what type of ammunition it is. See, on the back, they'll usually show what caliber it is, and sometimes it'll even say what manufacturer. Sometimes it'll only be the manufacturer. But a lot of cases, you know, you'll see that ammunition enough, or it's such a unique profile that it's easily identifiable even if it doesn't say it on itself what it is. Take for example a 22 long rifle. This one on the back just says Rem, me. But you can see that it's clearly, you know, just a very unique look. It is a very identifiable profile. Now there are some discrepancies, you know, there are 22 shorts, which the casing is slightly shorter. There's 22 Magnum, where the casing is slightly longer. Now there's even some 22s that are in centerfire. Now another thing I wanted to bring up was that calibers can be the same size and not necessarily the same length or the same casing. So this is a magazine full of 5.56. This is actually a 22 caliber as well, just like 22 long rifle. But as you'll notice, the casings are way different. This one's got way more powder tucked in there than the little 22. And brother, if you're watching this and you say, hey, that looks like my magazine, I assure you, it absolutely is. So what caliber is referring to is the diameter of the bullet itself, not the casing, but the projectile. And so while the diameter might be the same, this one's got more power behind it because it's moving way faster. If you took those two cartridges and fired them side by side in completely different guns, you would notice that the hole that comes out on the target is exactly the same size. They're both 22s, it's indistinguishable. What the only difference is that the 223 or the 5.56 is moving way faster. And you'll see this a lot. A lot of different guns will use the same diameter bullet, but they'll have a different casing. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's got this weird, almost funnel looking shape where the case is big in the back and it gets necked down to fit the bullet. There's a lot of crazy cartridges out there is what I'm saying. So that's pretty much it. That's all there is about ammunition. If you're wondering, what the heck is this on the table here? You know, what's going on back here? Well, we'll get to it when we get to it. This is actually a little project I have going on. This is going to be the Patriot from Metal Gear Solid 3, you know, dick and nuts and everything. I also have a lot of other things that I'm working on right now. I also have a lower parts kit for a certain build from a game, Apex Legends, that I'll be working on soon, and hopefully I'll get my buddy to shoot it too. So I want to do more guns from games. So there's a lot of really cool builds out there that I want to do. See, I'm a nerd first and a gun guy second. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. Hopefully the next one I put out will be something a little more crazy, a little more interesting. I don't want to just be putting out edutainment videos for a while. I want to mix in a few other things that I've been working on as well. But yeah, that about wraps it up. I'll see you guys in the next video.